Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. John, how are you doing this evening?
I am tired because we just got back from our trip to watch UNO play an opening exhibition against the MSU Mankato Mavericks up in Mankato, Minnesota. We've been driving all day. Jason, how are you feeling? Are you tired after the drive back from Mankato?
Of course. It's not a terrible drive. It's actually pretty easy. It's just road weary, ready, glad to be home, happy to be here, just ready to kind of like chill and do nothing for an evening.
I am surprisingly tired. I did not have to drive. Bridget likes to drive on the road, as we were talking about. When she is a passenger in the car, she's sitting in the back seat in the car, she will get car sick. So she typically drives us on road trips. So I know that she's tired. She was tired yesterday, certainly driving up. So it was a quick 24-hour trip we made to Mankato, Minnesota. Exciting to see UNO in real game action for the first time this season. Off the top, though, I want to mention our sponsor this season, our official merchandise sponsor for the podcast, Lawler's Custom Sportswear, is also the official supplier of UNO hockey gear at UNO hockey games each season. Reminder that fans get 10% off their purchase at lawlerscustom.com by using the code MAVPUCK23. That's MAVPUCK, all in caps, 23 at lawlerscustom.com. And you get all kinds of great gear. This sweatshirt I'm wearing right now, this Nike sweatshirt, I know Jason has one of these too that he got at the end of last season, is available at Lawler's Custom. Great sweatshirt, nice soft material, not the typical cotton hoodie that you'll see. So you might want to check it out at Lawler's Custom. So turning to our exhibition up at Mankato, Jason, exciting to get through the arena, exciting to see the team come out on the ice. They were wearing the new home jerseys that we talked about on last week's episode of the Mavpuckcast. We were a little bit surprised. You don't often see a team wear their home whites on the road in college hockey, but they must have worked something out to do that. So Mankato had their purple road jerseys on. We had our home white jerseys on. Looking at that first period, Jason, what did you think of UNO and their play?
Well, I think, we talked last week about the questions going in for this team, particularly where the offense was going to come from. And I thought the first 10 minutes, we held them to 0 shots, which was surprising. They really didn't have a whole lot of good entries. We controlled the play, really well for the first half of that first period. We were on top of pucks. We were attacking downhill. We had a couple good opportunities, and then the referees get involved, and we take a couple penalties, and that tilts the ice a little bit. And I really felt like after those penalties, we just never seemed to kind of get our feet back and get our game back. And it seems like the rest of the game, we really kind of struggled with that. We ended up, I think, ahead in shots on the first, but not by much, if I remember right. It was like the tail of 2 halves of a period, even. Like, it was just a totally different team. And they struggled getting out of their zone, which is something that I didn't expect from this team. I figured that with our veteran leadership on the back end that, they would carry the play a little bit more, but it was preseason hockey. We saw a lot of sloppy play. We saw a lot of bad passes, a lot of indecisions where they just held onto the puck too long. So hopefully those types of things kind of get ironed out here before it matters next week.
Absolutely. A lot of players that we don't normally see in the lineup got in the lineup for this game for UNO. UNO had 3 power plays, but only 1 shot on goal during those power play opportunities during the game. Mankato had 5 power play opportunities. It was scoreless through 2. Mancini had an opportunity with about 6 minutes left in the second that dinked off the post. Might have turned the tide for UNO. We go into the third period, an exciting third period. Our 2 goaltenders, Simon Lacozi, our stalwart in net last season, Started off the game, played the first half of the game, and then our transfer goalie from Lake Superior State, Seth Isley, got in the game, getting the second half of the duty in net for UNO in that game. Big player, big goalie. And his brother, Adam Isley, plays for Mankato. He is a forward. Very nearly had a goal on Seth. It was kind of exciting to see, brother versus brother playing. His dad pointed that out on Twitter. I felt bad that you and I hadn't mentioned it on last week's podcast. What did you think of Simon and Seth's performances in net? Obviously, when you're talking about a low scoring game, goaltending is very important.
Yeah, and if this team is going to struggle to score goals and that, then we're going to need those guys to be big. I mentioned the last one. You're really looking for combined GAAs to be under 2.5, and with the lack of offensive production that we've seen in the inter squad scrimmage and then in this exhibition, you're really thinking like these guys have to be able to hold it maybe under 2 for the season to have a real good chance. The thing that I noticed that I thought was kind of interesting is like the setup's very similar to the way it was last year with Kowarski, in that you have Lakotsi, who's kind of the shorter stature, more mobile, really good at scrambling. Like he's definitely the better goaltender when it comes to abnormal situations and having to find a puck that just isn't there for you. Whereas Isley is more of your traditional, like he's got that NHL build. He's that 6'2" kind of goaltender who just is stable on his reads and isn't going to scramble a whole lot. And so what that gives UNO is the opportunity to kind of mess with some teams planning, right? Because if you're getting Simon, you're going to plan one way or another, but if you don't know which goalie you're getting on a Friday or a Saturday night or something, like, it makes it a lot tougher for teams to plan, what to expect. So hopefully coach uses that to our advantage, much the way that he did last year with throwing Kowarski in here and there, just to make you think like maybe it's not Simon's night. Maybe we need to plan on something different.
Middle part of the third period, freshman Tanner Ludke had a grade A opportunity from Brock Bremer. That almost got UNO on the board and kind of broke the 0-0 tie. What did you think of that goal? You and I think, were very impressed with that play in the third period.
Yeah, I thought that was our best, not really a line as much as a pairing. I know they were kind of off with their numbers because they're not required to limit themselves to a normal roster and things like that. So when you looked at the lineup chart that they posted on Twitter and stuff, like there were more guys there than you probably normally would have. And that was, those two together had some really good opportunities throughout the game, and that was by far their best. And honestly, like of everyone, it was the one combination of players that I thought was fairly consistently generating chances. It wasn't great. There's still a ton to work on. But that seems to be a pairing that you can maybe kind of start building around and trying to find some chemistry on this team, because they really lack that through the whole game, like top to bottom. I mean, our one goal that comes very late in the third, really wasn't a pretty play. It wasn't a bang bang play. It was just hard work coming off the boards. Not really much of a shot, but just this like seeing eye puck that weasels its way through kind of thing. And it's like that's the kind of plays we might have to rely on. So we're going to need guys to play downhill in a high end puck.
Absolutely. You might have to depend on some of those kind of garbage goals down low, but you'll take them if they go into the nets. You and I both, going back to the Ludke opportunity in the middle part of the third period, you and I both been impressed with Brock Bremer the last few seasons. So we're expecting big things from him this year. And it was great to see Tanner Ludke on the ice. It was great to see him on the ice with his brother Griffin, who is a sophomore for UNO this season. We hope that we get to see more of Griffin Ludke in the lineup this season. But as you alluded to, Matt Miller does get the only goal of the game, which turns out to be the game winner at the 17:20 mark in the third period. It was a 5-hole goal down low. Great to get that goal on Mankato goaltender Andrew Miller, who is no relation to Matt Miller, by the way. And UNO goes on to win the game 1-0. UNO was outshot in the game 38-13. We were outshot 18-6 in the third period. That kind of shot differential isn't going to typically get it done for you. Certainly, it's the embryonic phase of this season. We're going to see how they develop over the next few weeks once they get into regular season play. But what are your final thoughts on this exhibition for UNO to start the season?
I mean, I think we saw a lot of potential, a lot of things that, there's little bits and pieces here. If they can find a way to put it all together, like you mentioned, if they find some chemistry, some guys start to gel well, there's realistic opportunity for this team to have some success. But they've got to tighten up. They've got to be able to battle. They've got to be able to get back on their heels. Like when you get to NCHC, you're going to get bad calls. It's welcome to the NCHC. Like that's just the way it works here. Like, so you can't have your entire course of play change on one penalty call. And it wasn't a bad call that kind of started that downhill progression for UNO, right? Like, so they've got to find a way to battle back, make adjustments at the intermissions, things like that. But I think there's some real work there for the coaching staff to find some offense that is not just puck luck, because you're not gonna get outshot by double digits and expect to win half your games. It's like you just can't. You're not going to get that lucky most nights. So we're gonna have to find a way to get some consistent offense and some consistent pressure. Keep hounding pucks, get stuff to the net. We had this problem last year. We talked about this early on last season, that we seem to be getting a lot of our shots from the point blocked, right? And we're seeing that a lot again in this exhibition game. And so they need to kind of get away from those defenders, find a way to open up some space and get those pucks through. Because if they're shooting into bodies and stuff, like, the size of our guys, the experience that we have down low, crashing the net, all that stuff's pointless if the puck never gets there.
Absolutely right. They have to be resilient when they face adversity. They've got to have sustained possession in the offensive zone because that will open up opportunities for the team. And again, they've got to continue, especially early on this season, with the good defensive play and the good goaltending to help carry them through until the coaching staff can figure out the line combinations that are going to work to generate some offense for this team. So I know both of us are excited to see more going forward. But we got to turn to our players of the week. Jason, who did you like during this exhibition game at Mankato? Not a lot of scoring. A lot of times we tend to pick forwards who produce points during a game. Only one goal during this game. Who did you like in this exhibition against Minnesota State Mankato?
I like Brock Bremer. I thought he had a really good game. He's we've talked about him before in past seasons. Like he's that undersized forward, and I comically referred to him as a mosquito sometimes. Like he's just constantly annoying players. There was a scuffle in the third after the opportunity where some of the bigger Mankato players were kind of getting involved and pushing him around, and like I love to see him fight back. And he's clearly just one of those annoying things for other teams to have to deal with. But he's annoying because he has talent and he's got some skill, and he clearly has a desire to see some success, and that will really support him and bring him pretty far. And so I hope that this is a crystal ball for the rest of the season, a glimpse into what we'll see some more from him is more of that kind of play. But like I said earlier when we were doing the recap, right? Like I really like him and Lucky together. that combination. I think you really just have to find like what's the missing element on that other side, and or do you move Ludke to the wing and bring in something at center, um you know and try to find the puzzle piece that's going to make that line be that danger line that we need.
Absolutely right. You were saying during the game that you thought Brock Bremer was the most impressive forward out there. Uh, Very exciting player, as always on the ice, and it was exciting to see him get off to a good start because we need that from our veteran players this season. I'm going with two players since they split duty. I'm going to go with sophomore goaltender Simon Lacozy and grad transfer Seth Isley. Simon and Seth combined for 38 saves during the game. Isley came up big late and he stopped 22 total shots while he was in net. So a good start for our goaltenders, Jason. Jason, are you going to ding me here for picking two players as player of the week? This is Jason's like, next thing we know, John is gonna, pick an entire line as his player of the week.
I think it's been before you picked like the defensive core, which is a third of the team. So
I have trouble making up my mind. So a good series to start the season, and like I said, lots of exciting things to look forward to in the next few weeks. Watching this team as they start the 2023-24 regular season campaign. So, turning to things you missed at Mankato. I was going to call this things you missed at the Mayo Clinic, blah, 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 whatever arena. And I'm like, I'm going to get that wrong. So Jason just suggested I call this things you missed at Mankato because while we were at the arena, we took a chance to look around at some of the things that they were doing. Fall of 2015 was the last time we were up there, and Bridget and I were up there, and I know you and Jolene were up there, but they have a ice level club section with high top tables and chairs called Club Cambria in one corner, where you can get snacks and drinks and everything else. What did you think of that club level? I liked it, Jason. I thought it was kind of a neat idea as kind of an opportunity to have something a little bit different down there at ice level. I don't know the logistics of what they have to pay to get in there, or if it comes with a certain type of seat or seating donations. But what did you think of that? I thought it was kind of a neat deal.
or even I don't even know. Maybe it's just it's an exhibition, so let's forget some seating and just do it as a one-time thing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. Like it's a neat experience. I've seen a lot of hockey games at different levels in a lot of different spaces, and so like I've sat on the glass and I've sat way up high, and I've stood on benches, and so that was one of those things I'm like, well, that would be kind of a cool experience to have your little bar top table right on the glass, and it was down in a corner, so you'd have, depending on where you were on there, like you'd have a decent view of the game. So kind of cool for Mankato fans that may stumble upon this podcast and be listening, and that, like, dump it in the chat. Let us know what's going on with that, because I'm really curious. If I ever go up for a game, I might try to get a seat down there in that
Yeah,
Cambria lounge.
yeah. Neat deal at the Shoot Twice End for Mankato. So, like you said, it looked like a pretty decent view. The second thing we were going to talk about is Mankato in their arena has banner ads. Obviously, they've got the regular dasher board ads around the rink, but they've got banner ads for sponsors on the upper third of the glass surrounding the rink. If you're looking at them, from the opposite side of the ice, you can't see through it. So you have an obscured view of the people over there sitting in the stands. If you are behind them, there are like, hundreds and hundreds of little holes that you can look through. So as Jason said, it was something akin when you're looking through them on the ice to kind of watching the game through a pair of sunglasses. It's kind of has a tinted look. Originally, our seats were right behind those banner ads, and I'm kind of glad we didn't sit there because I would not have been able to get any clips or any footage for the game going through those ads. But Jason, as a hockey fan who's watched hockey in all kinds of arenas, you and I have gone all over this country watching games. What did you think of the experience looking through that? Granted, we didn't sit there for a whole game, but we went there during the intermission. What did you think of those ads on the glass that you would have to look through if you sat behind them?
That would have been a tough sell even for me, Like you could see just fine, which I was a little surprised, looking across the rink at him. I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna work. Um, so I was surprised at how well you could see through all of those little holes. Um, but it's not all of your view, right? Like it covers part of it, but then you've got, underneath those ads, you've got kind of a normal view and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. It would be tough to follow, even for me who's seen a lot of hockey. So I think like if you're someone who hasn't watched a lot of games, I don't know how you do that. Like you must be there just for the experience at that point.
Yeah, absolutely right. It wasn't too far from our little club table area, so maybe you get to go down there and watch from the high top tables. And just to give a little bit more description, it's kind of like they're kind of like those like window clings that you'll see on restaurants, bars, stores, where from the outside it looks like an ad or a graphic, and then when you go inside and you walk out, it's kind of like a it kind of looks like everything's tinted when you're looking outside. So, I mean, it's an interesting technology, and I've designed things like that for clients. But yeah, I don't know what it'd be like watching hockey through those, and I'd be curious to know what it's like for the people who regularly sit in those seats. We didn't have a things you missed at Baxter Arena segment this weekend. We thought we would look at some of the things that we noticed at Mankato. But news came out this last week that our Omaha Mavericks will be traveling to Sin City. They'll be traveling to Las Vegas next season to play in the 2024 Men's Icebreaker Tournament on October 11th and 12th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. Minnesota is the host school for that. In addition to Minnesota and UNO, Air Force, and UMass Amherst will also be participating in that. It's kind of a cool opportunity for UNO to participate in this, and certainly a great opportunity for fans that they're playing in Las Vegas, which is a city that's really trying to boost their hockey profile, certainly with the Vegas Golden Knights there the past several years. A lot of excitement around hockey in that city. But this is a great opportunity for fans. The last time UNO participated in the Icebreaker tournament was the 2012-2013 season. It was in Kansas City that year. Tickets for the 2024 Icebreaker tournament will go on sale Friday, October 20th, 2023 at noon Central Time. And if you're looking for more information on that or information about purchasing tickets, you can visit www.orleansarena.com. We will certainly be sharing information on the various Mavpuck social media channels. But Jason, what do you think about UNO playing in the Icebreaker? And more importantly, what do you think about them playing in Vegas next season?
Should be interesting. I'm curious to see how many people, are willing to travel, and get out there and take in games. And, I'm always interested in what the university is going to do as far as, are they doing some sort of alumni events or, something for fans that are out there? Are they doing a travel package? Is Mavpuck going to put something together for us so that all of us fans that want to travel with the team and see the games can? So that's what I'm most excited for, is just being able to see a game out there. I kind of wish it was where the Vegas Golden Knights play, but I'm sure that place is packed completely, so no chance of getting in there.
My question for you, Jason, are you and Jolene and maybe the girls thinking about going at that point? I know you guys have a busy schedule every year with activities for the girls. So I didn't know if this was something that was seriously on your list as far as road trip destinations for next season or not.
It's always something we're looking at. It's for us, like you mentioned, it with kids and activities and school and stuff like that. Like it's always the logistics of how do we get out there, so they're not missing school or not missing a hockey tournament or you know band, orchestra, who knows what's required, all that stuff. So can't commit. That's going to be the hard part for us is tickets go on sale a year in advance, and I can't tell you what the schedules are for a year in advance. So unfortunately, that's not going to help us. But it's definitely something we'll consider.
I'm excited. I'm excited to experience the event. Never been to. I've never been to Las Vegas other than being through the airport a couple times there. So should be an exciting opportunity for fans to travel and watch the team. We need to see our fans getting out to games more. So we will have more information when tickets are available and as we learn more information on what sort of activities they have planned for UNO's Icebreaker tournament appearance in 2024. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of hockey to be played, and the season starts this upcoming weekend, October 13th and 14th at Baxter Arena. The Niagara Purple Eagles are coming in for 2 games on Friday and Saturday night at 7:07 p.m. at Baxter Arena. This starts a 4-weekend stand for UNO to start the season. A lot of home games at Baxter Arena for the team, and we talked about their struggles in the first segment of the podcast. So this will give UNO an opportunity to work some things out in the friendly confines of their home arena. Niagara was picked to finish 6th in Atlantic hockey this season out of 11 teams in the conference. They played an exhibition against the Royal Military College of Canada, and they won that exhibition 8-3. Niagara is 6-3-1 all time against UNO. Jason, what do you think going into this series against Niagara after watching them play up at Mankato? What do you think about UNO's chances in this series, and what kind of things do you think they need to work on going into this weekend?
Well, they need to be ready. We lost to Niagara last year, and we talked about this at the end of the season. Like you can look back to that Niagara series and be like, if that falls differently, UNO's in the tournament. But because we lost, we're not, right? And
Yep.
so, yes, this doesn't affect our NCHC standings, and I get like, some people are just solely focused on conference stuff, but these non-conference games, they matter, and they matter more than what some casual fans may think. So I don't think that we prepared well last year. I don't think we played well against them last year, and I think we need to prepare better and play better. I don't think that Mankato changed anything for me. I still look at this team going, we're going to rely heavily on the play of our goaltenders, and one bad night, like if someone's just if Simon's in net and he's just not feeling it that night, we might be done before we even really get started, kind of thing. And so I'm still worried about offensive production. I still don't know where that comes from. I think it's easier when you're at home because you do have the fans there to kind of cheer you on, and that energy that you can feed off of and stuff. I think will help them, but there was nothing that we saw in Mankato that would suggest that we have an answer for that big question mark for this team going into the season. So I'm really looking for them to make a statement and say, like, no, we're figuring something out. It was an exhibition, we were messing around, and now we're serious, right? Like, I want to see that. I want to see them Friday night come up, put out 10 goals, and make me go, hey, maybe we did find something. This team, it's not as big of a question mark, but even if we win both games 1-0, I think we're still going to sit here next week on the podcast and say, like, where are we going to find offense when we're playing teams like North Dakota if we can only put up 1 on Niagara?
And it's just going to be interesting to see, like you said, and Brad Schlossman, the beat writer for the Grand Forks Herald, pointed out that if we had swept Niagara last season, we would have been in the NCAA tournament. So it comes down to just some of those wins early in October that can make a huge difference down the stretch in the stretch run. A couple players that I want to encourage fans to watch this weekend: Luke and Connor Milamach. Luke played for Minnesota Duluth last season. Connor played for Alaska Fairbanks. They both transferred to Niagara this season. College hockey fans might remember Luke Milamach had the game-winning goal in the 5 overtime game that Minnesota Duluth and North Dakota played in the 2021 NCAA regional. It was an epic game. Those players looked like they were completely exhausted. Yeah, a junior forward for Niagara, Shane Ott, had 10 goals and 18 assists last season. He was third on the team in scoring, and senior forward Carter Rancliffe had 13 goals and 11 assists last season. Their talented goaltender last season, Chad Veltri, is gone. He transferred to the resurrected Robert Morris program. So they've got a lot of question marks in net. So for a UNO team that didn't put up a lot of shots against Mankato, didn't have a lot of offensive success, they might be able to find success this weekend against the Niagara goaltending. I'm sure Niagara coach Jason Lammers will have that team ready to play. Jason, what is your prediction for this weekend? How do you think UNO is going to do in these 2 opening games of the regular season against the Niagara Purple Eagles? They're going to split? They're going to sweep? They're going to get swept? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. This is really hard. Like, I think more so than any season, like I'm just not confident in anything being like competitive. Like I want to say that we'll find a way to win both games. I think I think it's going to be low scoring affairs, unfortunately. You mentioned their new goaltenders. There's question marks if you look at their stats from past years. They're not anything that's like, oh my god, this kid's coming in with 2 seasons of a 1.3 GAA, right? Like that would scare you coming in. These all 3 of their goaltenders that I saw on the roster were all guys that carried career 2.5 plus GAAs. They've got one kid that's big. I think he's like 6'4". So I don't know if he'll be their starter or not, but that's that size can give you some problems when you play, when you don't have quality goal scorers like we've had in the past. You don't have Pope and Gensel and like those kinds of guys. We don't have that guy on the team right now. We don't have that, like, this is the shooter. This is the guy that if you give him an opportunity to clean, he can beat a goaltender. Like we just have guys that can get the job done and grind something out. And so I'm gonna say that it's the sweep for Omaha, but I'm not confident that I'm right at all in that.
It'll be interesting to see the adjustments that Coach Gabinet and company make this week with the players, and it'll be interesting to see how they are coming out Friday nights going into this series against the Niagara Purple Eagles. Like you, I'm going to say we sweep the series, but anything is possible at this point in the season. You just don't know what's going to happen. The team needs to really take these guys seriously, because if you come out and you let a team like Niagara hang around with you late into the 3rd period, anything is possible, and you could end up getting snake bit. So you'd hate to see that happen for UNO. It'll be fascinating to see what happens the next few weekends as UNO delves into this season. I'm excited to see these games. Like I said, the games are at 7:07 p.m. at Baxter Arena. We hope you all, if you're not season ticket holders, will join us at the games. I'm sure they'll have plenty of tickets available for this opening series. And if you can't watch in person, those games will be broadcast on the radio on 1290 Coil. They will also be on NCHC TV, so you can subscribe to NCHC TV and watch those games on there. But as always, be sure to follow Mavpuck.com on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for the latest updates throughout the week, as well as updates throughout each of the games this season. Bridget does a great job live tweeting those games. And you can find links to our social media channels at Mavpuck.com. So until next time, Jason, go Mavs.
Go Mavs.